What's up gamers, Lexi here with another Icy Ring build guide video for Torchlight Infinite. In Season 1 I optimized a self-cast Icy Ring build for Thea. That build is still very powerful, so check out my video guides on that if you're interested. I created this Gemma Autobomber because you gamers asked me for an Icy Ring build for a free character and a playstyle that required less button presses. Luckily, Ice Fire Fusion Gemma received a rework in Season 2 that gives her power matching Thea's. This new build is easier to play, faster with non-stop movement, and still deals a ton of damage. My next video will cover the advanced version of the build that reaches 1 billion DPS, but first let's go over how to get started in Time Mark 7 on a low budget. The newly reworked Ice Fire Fusion Gemma fixes her problems of low damage. Ice Fire Radiance allows us to apply both fire and cold bonuses to our damage, while Extreme Fusion applies lightning bonuses to our damage. This allows us to double and sometimes even triple dip on damage multipliers from certain major talent nodes. For example, Restless Ice Fire gives us 30% additional fire damage and 30% additional cold damage, both of which we benefit from. We'll also receive the additional damage on Glacial Flames twice. For the Hero Relic, aim for an engram of 3 sockets with the Hero Memory effect. For Hero Memories, I aim for movement speed as a priority, with defense as a second stat to keep costs low. Eventually you can get +1 or 2 to fusion energy instead of defense to scale your damage higher, but for this video I didn't put any damage here. The first talent tree is Goddess of Knowledge, prioritizing damage, attack and cast speed, skill area, intelligence, and sealed mana reduction. You can come back to the mana and spell skill level later if you're still leveling. The major nodes are Beacon and Burning Touch. We get the 20% additional damage twice due to Gemma's hero traits. I've noticed from stacking multiple sources of additional cold and fire damage that they don't get added together, but instead are separate multipliers from each other. This means that Burning Touch gives us 44% more damage. In the Spirit Caller tree we go for Energy Shield, Attack and Cast Speed, Penetration, Skill Radius, Energy Shield Regain, All Res, Intelligence, and then +1 cold skill level. You'll also need this minor talent to apply all 3 elemental damage types to your spells. You can come back for the mana later if you're still leveling. The first major node is Translucent. This time we're triple dipping into this 20% additional damage. This means that we're getting almost 73% more damage from this one node alone. And then the second major node is Particular Vibe. Warlock is my preferred third tree, mainly because I like the extra energy charge for my buffs and Frigid Transmission. You also get a lot of cooldown reduction from Merciless, and Off the Beaten Track gives you a lot of damage from support skills, as well as allowing you to aura stack when you eventually get Precise Seal Conversion. For skills we hold down Path of Flames for our channeling, Guard will provide us with an extra barrier, Quick Mobility and Efficient Cast will increase the cast speed for more Icy Ring explosions. Make sure you keep Path of Flames at level 1, since we're not doing any damage with this skill and it'll only increase your mana consumption. For buffs we activate Mana Boil just once at the beginning of the map, and then Elemental Destruction and Soul Eating Circle can be activated when needed for more damage, both of which don't interrupt your channeling. Frigid Transmission can be used for more mobility, but is optional if you don't want to press as many buttons. All of our damage comes from this precise cast while channeling Ring of Ice. Do not attempt to use this build with the regular cast while channeling because it has a damage penalty, whereas the precise cast while channeling has additional damage. Precise cast while channeling has a triggered cooldown of 0.2 seconds, and we need to gain 3 channeled stacks per trigger, which means we need 15 casts per second with our channeled skill for maximum DPS. High Voltage can be used because additional lightning damage applies to our fire and cold damage through Gemma's hero trait. Lightning to Cold also has additional lightning damage, and converts 50% of the lightning damage on True Sight armor to cold damage. Freeze Chance and Cold Spell are also additional damage multipliers. For our mana reserved auras I included the precise versions because they are fairly cheap to buy off the market. We have Frigid Domain and Elemental Amplification for more damage, Swiftness for more move speed, and Magical Source for mana regen. The final passive skill is Summon Thunder Spirit linked to Seal Conversion to reserve life. Thunder Spirit is needed in the starter version for Path of Flames to hit 15 casts per second. Eventually it can be removed when we start stacking Int with the cast speed per Int mod on our weapon. We'll be able to fit more auras when we can afford precise seal conversion, but that can be a pretty expensive buy, so I'll save that for the advanced version. Hi fudge. For starter gear, I included cheap legendaries you can buy off the market. Cold Breath, True Sight Armor, Ice and Fire, and the Arctic Rings were all only 1 Flame Elementium apiece. Infinity costs a little more, but buying one with just Focus Strike on it is worth the 2 to 10 FE, so I had to include it. True Sight Armor is secret tech that I found that gives massive added flat lightning damage. This used to be only 3% of missing mana as lightning damage, but got buffed to 8 to 10% in Season 2's patch. Eventually you want to get a corroded one for 12% of missing mana as lightning damage. I crafted some cheap wands for the starter setup. They should have cast speed and intelligence as a priority, as well as aura effect or skill radius. You can also stack more mana on the wands, but I found that the added flat damage actually gives more damage right now. You need to get cast speed on both your wands in addition to having Thunder Spirit to get your Path of Flames cast speed to at least 15 per second. 15 casts per second would give you the maximum Icy Ring explosions with precise cast while channeling. The crafted necklace has mana and energy shield. You'll also need one source of lightning and fire resistance, as well as much needed erosion. The boots also have mana, energy shield, and erosion resistance, and double movement speed if you want to be zoomy. Let's see how much DPS this low budget version does. Looks like we can get about 50 mil DPS pretty easily. Not too bad getting into T7. Now there's some mid-budget upgrades you can do for 20 to 30 FE apiece. Sage's Insight, as well as Restless Glacier Rings. Let's see how much DPS this setup does. So now we're above 100 mil DPS, just with those small upgrades. The pack spirits I'm using in this test are not giving me very much damage. I'm using 2 drop pets for farming. Make sure you grab the all-res if you need it. Double damage is a great way to scale your DPS early on. That's it for the low to medium budget version of the build. Be sure to subscribe to be notified when the advanced video comes out. Peace out and happy slaying.